the UK, broadcasting around the world. You're listening to the Mic Drop Club, hosted by Douglas Hammond-Dishe. Message received. You do not need to know what you need. Just engage with the podcast feed. Providing weekly insights into cool stuff we've read, saw, did, or heard about what made us say, wow, eureka, damn, nothing is off limits. If it motivates and inspires you to reach your goals, then it shall be discussed. Featuring guest interviews from high performers and people of influence, and weekly awards for the best mic drop moment. This podcast is guaranteed to leave you pumped up for the week ahead. Don't just live life. Make life boom.
That's right, people. Welcome to another beautiful year, 2021. I'm so glad to be alive. I'm so glad to have my spirits raised and optimistic for the year ahead. We've survived this far, so let's keep pushing forward. And today, again, I'm blessed with Jonas to continue to add his insights and influence so you guys can reach your fullest potential. So with no further ado, Jonas, how are you doing? Happy New Year.
Thanks. Happy New Year back. Hopefully a great kickstart on 2021.
100%. And hopefully it's a mind kicker of a year, because if you cannot kickstart your mind now, when? If not now, but when?
Yeah, I kickstart before New Year.
Fantastic. And they say, I was reading in an article the other day that this is the year of the creatives. You know, they have different meanings in the Chinese calendar. Different animals, the cat, monkey, mouse, all these different ones. But ultimately, because we've all gone digital, because of the lockdown, due to the pandemic, the internet has become far more mature in terms of its audience. So in that environment, this is a space where people who are creative can really start to express themselves and create what they call now new art. What do you think about that?
I think it's going to happen. It needs to happen, and it's just the way to find, I think, the purpose, and just like we have spoke before about decide and commit and act. So yeah, it's really interesting time, I think, for me. I'm curious about the time we are right in now, so really excited.
Excellent. And I think the flavor of this conversation, it should be centered around those three words you said: decide, commit, and act. Too often we are caught up in, at this time of year, making New Year's resolutions. I said, like, this year I'm going to be fitter, this year I'm going to be brighter, this year I'm going to be more focused. But something about deciding is something that not a lot of us know how to do well, because, to be honest, most people's New Year's resolutions read the same every single year with no change. And the definition of insanity, as Einstein would have put it, is doing the same thing over and over again but expecting a different result. So if the majority of people are deciding using to keep the same New Year's resolutions year upon year, why are they not receiving the results, or why are they not updating or changing their decisions in terms of what should they focus on?
I mean, I think I talked to some of my clients that I work with. Is like, this year we're going with the attitude to think new things and feel new things and do new things. because of, like you said, Einstein. It's like last year, the same time around this year, it's like in January, it's the same thing. It's losing weight, or it's starting training, or so on. But I think it's more important to really deep dive into your body and the core of you to see what you need to decide.
Yeah.
And then come to the next step to be actually committed, and then act on that one. So I think that's the key to kickstart this 2021.
Sure.
It's more to just lock in yourself, and then start like try to feel new things. Just let it go, to be like the unknown feelings, like just let it go and let it in, and try to get that new feelings, and then embrace it and see what's happening if you stay as long as you need to actually feel new things.
Yeah, sure. Because a lot of people, I guess, will give up once their senses are bombarded with new feelings and new experiences. They want to shy away from that and go back to the known. So
I think so, because the traditional society is like, if you lock in by your room or like that for an hour, when you step outside the room, you're just hitting back so hard with all the news flowing, the society, the social media. So exposed twice or 10 times more than you just went to yourself. So that's what I need to like balance. What I think to get like decide is about like to decide as well to remove all the outer stimulants like news. Just decide, I will not put on my TV or radio to listen to the news for a week and focus on me.
Yeah.
That's, I think, as well is a key, because when you just step inside and out, in and out, it's like JoJo weight. It's you going up and down, up and down. So I think that's the same when you're working with your personal development as well.
Great. And one tip I have is to help people to decide is I like to play around with words, and instead of using the word decide, try to use the word be beside yourself. So if you're sitting, imagine your other self, your future self, the best version of you is sitting beside you. And imagine what that future self would be telling your current state, you know, and listen to that, your future self who's beside you, to inspire you and motivate you and say the right things. Because I guess when we have these epiphanies or these moments of real clarity, it's because the inner voice, we recognize it and we trust it because it's been with us for such a long time. So that's my tip. Just think out the box, be beside yourself with your future self, and ask yourself, what would the future self say to your current self? Particularly, say, for example, if your future self was somebody that was healthy, that had a successful life in terms of being able to manage their home, good health, all of those little trappings, all those important trappings, what sort of words would they use to encourage you? And then write them down and use them as your own positive affirmations to kickstart, to mind kick, to restart, to reboot the way of thinking. Yeah,
I totally agree on that one. I mean, it's just to find your own cocktail.
Yeah.
But I think like the main frame is like to actually it's like when many of my friends go to like a quiet retreat for 2 or 3 days, and they think it's amazing that they possible make it, or 10 days in quiet retreat. And then it's like the perspective is like, yeah, when I was 3 months among the Japanese monks, it felt so short for me. So that's the perspective of what I want to bring in to this today's society, is like you need to have the perspective of how much you put in, how much you get out.
Yes. Excellent point. The next one is to move forward to our three-part motivational pitch to our listeners is the commit. And the word commit, if you're using legal vernacular or legal language, is to you've committed an offense. You've done something that has been against the law. You've done something. If you're talking about criminal offense, so you cannot commit a criminal offense without actually doing. So to commit is a doing word. Nobody's ever been found guilty of thinking to do something. They've been found guilty because they took those thoughts and turned them into action. Okay, so try to get yourself arrested and to be found guilty of committing to change your life, and by doing some action, because that will be your proof, as it were, that you're moving in the right direction. If you can imagine, there's a judge, a metaphorical judge that is, and you're sitting before the judge presenting your case. You want to be found guilty on all counts for trying to improve your life. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love that you like word of English. I mean, I love to do it in Swedish language as well. But I mean, when I heard this expression, like decide, commit, act, it was like, for me, like you explaining it is like commit for me. When I heard it, when I translate from like what I know in English, it is like you explaining, like I actually need to do that C to make that act, like you said.
Yeah.
If I commit nothing, then I'm not nothing.
Yeah.
But if I commit acting, then I can get arrested or I can develop.
Yes. And
so it was like, yeah. So it was more like that, what I understood. And it's the same in Swedish when you like do that 3-part rocket. Is for me, commit was like the kick start to act. So first of all, decide, and then the kickstart, kicking the ass or whatever you want to have, and then act.
Absolutely. Because again, these are verbs, these are doing words. And sometimes people can get lost within the noise of their own imagination. Some people are happy to live in their own brains. They can go to worlds far and wide and do fantastic things, but the physical reality, they're stagnant. What we're talking about here is the big C, the commitment to actually do something. So it's a verb. What do you want to be known for? There's another good one my parents would want to say. What would you want to be known for? And would you want to be known as somebody that forfeits their own dreams and aspirations? Do you want to be somebody known for talking more and doing less? You know, when somebody sees you or knows you, how do they describe you to other people? And it's far better to be described as somebody that's action-orientated, that's goal-centered, than somebody that just talks and cannot deliver. And I think in 2021, there's going to be a lot more focus on people adding value to whatever they are doing. If you're an artist, you add value by painting or producing art that can be shared by society, right? So whatever you're doing, you've got to be thinking about what value are you bringing to whatever environment that needs to be shared. If you're a caring person, why don't you add value to the health service and care for lots of people? No point in I'm just only caring for yourself. So value is, I think, the biggest thing, because as we've seen through the collapse of many currencies around the world, the monetary money is becoming more and more meaningless as we're becoming more technologically advanced. Technology is a great equalizer for against people in developing worlds, because as long as they've got access to a computer, technically speaking, they operate in the same real estate as we all do.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a real mind shift on the way from the top, like you said, like the value. It's a really underestimated skills to value your own value, and I think that's gonna be the most thing during 2021 now as well. But it's, as you said, like action speaks louder than words. It's like
Great.
what I learned in school, and I still remember it because it's my life, what I see. And I mean, I want to be known as that action man, not the word man.
Yes.
So that's the difference, I think. And
are you familiar with the Charles Dickens A Christmas Carol?
Not more than that you said, Charles Dickens and the Carol thing. I don't know the content.
Okay, the content is about Scrooge. Somebody called Scrooge, who was a miser. He had a lot of money, but he was very stingy and very... he didn't like sharing his money with anybody, in a nutshell. And he was trying to... The premise of the story is about this character called Scrooge, and he needs to make a transformational change, but he's resisting to change. So he gets visited by 3 ghosts that try to speak to him to change his ways, because he's become a miser, he's become very, very angry, bitter man. And so the first ghost he sees is the ghost of a present of the now, the present of now. And that was his old business partner. I think his vocation was accountancy. He'd done something with money anyway. So his business partner had passed away. So he came to him in a vision, in his sleep, trying to convince him to repent and live a good, healthy life. Scrooge was taken back by it, but he didn't change his ways. Yeah? Then he was visited by another ghost. Yeah, that took him back to his own past. And so that whole journey of how things used to be in his life, where did things go wrong? He woke up from that dream, he still wasn't changed. He was still stuck in his ways. Then the third ghost took him to the future, whereby he saw his tombstone, his resting place, and what it read. And that shocked him to change in his whole outlook. When he woke up, after the third ghost had visited him, he changed everything. He was a converted man. So there's a deeper meaning in that, if we can live our life backwards. As you were saying there, is how do people talk about you? How do people remember you? So if you work from what legacy you want to leave behind, it makes things easier for you to live up to your legacy. Because now you've got breath, you've got energy, you can live into your legacy, opposed to having somebody else write things about you. You're no longer able to change things. It's an easier way, I think, for people to understand what really motivates them, what really inspires them, if they could literally write their own eulogy. Write down how you want to be remembered. Here lies Douglas Hamadishe. He was blah, blah, blah. He did this, he did that. Write it down yourself as if someone else was speaking on your behalf, and live up to that.
Yeah, it's so important. Great story. I reckon the story when you spoke it to me. So, I mean, it's great, and that's why one cause is like, as you said, that's why I want to inspire the youngster. Like, this is what don't you learn in school or by somebody, and then I talk to kids that I meet and really want them to understand. Then I have a similar story about like what you want to be known as when you grow up, or if you die, or when you die. So they have never thought in that terms.
Yeah.
So they changed a lot about that. Like, I actually can control what it's says on my gravestone, and that's a really drive for them actually to understand that I actually can control what to stand on my gravestone if I know what I want to stand on the gravestone. If I don't know, then I don't know. But when you start to dig in yourself, a lot of my youngster, I mean, it's teenager, they thank me like 3-4 years later when they growing up from a young teenager to more young adult. I actually know now, Jonas, what I can control and what I need to do and how I supposed to act and so on. So it's a really great story.
Excellent. No, thank you for sharing how you implement the same type of philosophy as well. The third word is act. Now, I'm not too sure in Swedish if there's a direct translation to act, but I'm going to play around with the word very quickly. There's acting. There are people who are actors and actresses. Their job is to pretend to be a character. Yeah? Now, there's this saying that goes something like this: fake it until you become it. And I always had a problem with that statement. Fake it until you become it. Because if you try to pretend you are something, the little voice in you knows you're lying, knows you're a fraud, knows it's not true. And that little voice will not yield, it will not back down. It will constantly tell you in your ear, stop lying. You're not a successful business person. You're not a competent parent. You're not a high-performing investor. You're just you. Now, the way you can flip acting is to stop acting. Yeah? And use the word act as it's used in the theatre. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. These are different stages of a production. And that production is your life. Yeah? And each act requires different skills, different attributes, different philosophies as you move up or down the levels of life. But faking it until you become it just introduces, it never boosts your self-esteem, it never will boost your confidence, because deep down you know you're lying. What you can do if you're so fixated on that type of word, you can change fake it till you become it to live it until you be it. Yeah? You live it until you be it. You dress for the job that you want to have. So you actually got the regalia, the clothes to match the job that you want. You actually got to live that lifestyle. And then you just morph, the transition into it, you won't even know. You won't even know when it happened because you were actually living it. Don't fake anything, become it. Yeah? Live it until you become it. Don't fake anything. So that is my take on ACT. So Jonas,
short one on that one. I mean, exact what you describe again. You took my breath away because you think like you're reading my mind. Because in Swedish, the same thing. Like if I translate it, it's like you need to make something to happen. Is an act in Swedish. If I translate it hard, roughly, but it's you make it, and then you talked about fake it till you make it. Yeah, I was really throwing up when I heard that first expression because, as I said, make it without fake it.
Yes, absolutely.
It was my answer on that one, and then you same as you become it. I mean, see the stories. I mean, the guy who flew airplanes, he become it.
Yes.
He faked it, but he become it.
Yeah. Exactly. That deserves for both of us.
Yeah, but he was acting.
Our first mic drop of the year.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think this year we don't need any fake news. We don't need any alternative facts. Let's think about value. Let's decide to commit and to act. Any last words, closing words from you, Jonas?
No, I just start my 47 act this year. Boom.
Yeah, same here. I'm on my 46 act as well. Yeah. So we've been here before. We know what it's like. So we wish everybody a very safe and prosperous new year. Catch us next week on our next live stream.
Yeah, make it.
Yeah,
without fake it.
That's right.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to check out micdropclub.com and get the show notes and useful links. Subscribe to the podcast. Don't just live life, make life boom.